So we've received some info, Wayne, top secret.
Yep.
So you know we worked out Sir Lord Hornside's right-hand man?
Yeah, we took him out, yeah.
That leaves only his left-hand man.
It does leave his left-hand man.
We've got some intel.
Okay.
Apparently, narrowed it down to two guys. It's either trig or nometry.
What if
Yeah.
they're the same person?
Do you reckon it's some sort of code?
Yeah, like
Trigonometry?
okay, the only sensible solution
Yeah.
is to learn everything we can about trigonometry.
I think that's the only thing we can do right now.
Absolutely. So let's teach you that.
That's a good start.
That'll be an advancement than finding Sir Lord Horkenstein's left-hand man.
Alright, so trigonometry, that's like triangles and stuff.
It is, and what we're gonna look at here is right-angled triangles, because there's a set of little rules called SOHCAHTOA.
And they're pretty handy.
They're really handy for these. Particularly, they only work for right-angled triangles. We'll get onto non-right-angled triangles later.
Yeah. But if you have a right angled triangle,
Yep. I'll do it this way, and we say, because what you need is one angle
yeah.
or two sides. But let's start with just we have an angle. Let's say this angle is 30 degrees.
So you need at least two things to know what you're doing. So you need an angle, because now you have two angles there.
Yep. But we can't use that, we need a side as well.
Yeah.
So let's say we know this side here.
Okay.
This is 4. Okay.
It's a nice side. So when we're doing this sort of trigonometry, we name our sides and angles a bit.
We do. We base it around the angle that we do have that isn't 90. The
Yeah.
angle that we do have, so this angle here.
So we say that the side opposite that angle is called the opposite.
Yes.
It's really imaginative naming here.
Opposite. The hypotenuse is here, that is always the longest side, and that's why it only works with right angle triangles, because you need a hypotenuse for this formula.
Because you'd have an equilateral triangle, wouldn't work there. Then last one we have adjacent, that's next to or adjacent to the angle we're talking about.
So then SOHCAHTOA is like this.
Now this is something, I don't think it's in front of you, you have to remember what it is. SOHCAHTOA is a good way to remember it. So it means that the sine of an angle is equal to the opposite of the hypotenuse.
Yep.
The cosine of an angle is equal to the opposite adjacent of the hypotenuse, and the tan of an angle is equal to the opposite of the adjacent. Now, these are all functions on your calculator, little buttons. It'll say sine or sin and cos and tan, and we can rearrange these equations to do stuff.
Yeah, so I've wrote it in green, which is probably a really bad colour. This here is theta, that just represents an angle.
Now, that could be x or y or anything.
Yeah. Let's apply the formula. I'll do it in a different colour so you can definitely see what we're doing.
So for now, this bit, that would be 30.
Yes, that's the angle focused on.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to work out the hypotenuse,
We look at what we have. We say we've got the adjacent side, and we have the angle. We want the hypotenuse. We want something with all three of those things in.
so we want something that links adjacent, hypotenuse, and the angle,
And the
which is
angle.
in all of the formula I've got the angle theta.
So we look at the three we have, and for all of these, it would be cos
Yes, because cos theta
is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and that's what we've got. But we need to rearrange that to find the hypotenuse.
Yeah. So hypotenuse equals the adjacent divided by cos theta.
So what Wayne's done there is he's times both sides by hypotenuse and then divided both sides by cos theta.
So we've got h is now the subject. We can now put in the numbers because we have adjacent, that's
Yeah.
why we chose this formula.
And this will be in your calculator exam. So it'd be 4 over cos 30. I don't happen to know what that is at the top of my head.
No, that would give you an answer. You can type that into your calculator
And then
that
you'll
will give
have...
you the answer for hypotenuse.
Yeah. But sometimes you don't want a side, sometimes you want an angle.
You do. So if we don't know this angle,
Yeah.
and we've been told instead a side,
Yeah,
perhaps
say it's 5.
yeah. In fact, let's change it so we know that this is 5.
Okay.
Just so it's mixing it up. So because we did it with the hypotenuse last time, so that would be using the same formula.
Alright.
Let's use a different formula.
So we have our two sides, but we don't know this angle. Let's say we still want this angle, let's call the angle x.
Yep. So we want to work out what x is.
So we need an equation with both the opposite and the adjacent in.
Yep. Because although we don't know it, that's still the subject, so this is still opposite.
Yeah. And for that one, that is tan.
Yes, because tan of the angle, which is now x, we'll call it x, tan
Yeah.
of x equals the opposite over the adjacent.
And now we know what these values are, so just put them in. So we have our 5 over 4, but that's the tan of the angle, Wayne.
Yes, so if tan of the angle equals 5 over 4...
Now this is when you use a new button in your calculator. It will look like this.
Tan to the minus 1. It means it's getting rid of the tan on both sides. It's like
Yeah.
dividing by tan on both sides.
It is.
So you get x to be the subject.
Yeah, and x will equal tan to the minus 1 of 5 over 4.
Make sure you use brackets here because you want to do tan to the minus 1 of 5 over 4. If you didn't use brackets, it would be 10 to the minus 1 of 5, and then the answer of that divided by 4.
Yes, be careful with your brackets. And then that will give you x, and that will be that one.
If we draw up another triangle,
Okay.
hang on a sec. If we draw up, and then drop your pen.
That's an important step in your exam, always.
So if we draw up the same triangle quickly,
Yeah.
but this time we have this angle being the subject.
This is when your naming changes, because the opposite is always the opposite of the angle. That's very important to remember.
So if this is the angle we're trying to find, the opposite is now opposite the angle.
So this opposite and adjacent will move. Your hypotenuse never changes.
The hypotenuse is always the longest one.
And that's
Always the
sometimes
one
what
opposite
catches you
number.
out. Because they might in the same question ask you to work out 2 different angles.
Yeah, and there you go. That's how that changes. If we just write up all the rules fully in a colour you can actually see,
Just in case you can't see, that's a bit
and then we'll
colour
take a step
of
back.
each. So you need to know the sine of x, say,
Yep, sine of x,
is equal to the opposite over the adjacent.
hypotenuse.
Sorry. And the cos of x is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And finally,
Tan of x, third colour, is equal to the opposite over adjacent. Now, you can have different, what they call synonyms, is that what they're called? Different ways of remembering it.
yeah.
You could just remember Sokotoa.
And you could remember a sentence, I don't know what it is.
When I was learning this, I was taught sun on head causes a headache, take 1 aspirin.
Yeah.
That stuck in my head. You can make up your own, your teachers might have given you one. But you just remembering these formulas, they only work for right angle triangles.
But they are very, very handy.
We have to go on a mission to find out this trigonometry or trigonometry.
You need to find out which one it is.
Yeah,
Should
and
we
we'll
go
get back to you, but top secret.
Shh, don't tell anyone.